Hey, hello, and welcome to the Null Show with Dr. Dave podcast. I'm coming live from uh, the Tucson Festival of Books here, and we're down at the University of Arizona. And right now, we're down in the mall and we're selling some books. So, one of the things that I wanted to do today was really just start sharing and giving you some insights about some of the books that we do have present. Um, Maybe just a little bit about who I am. I'm an author and I've written about 9 different books. And most of the books that I write is nonfiction and really with an emphasis talking about business and just the way we operate and function within the business environment itself. But also, I've written a few fictional books, but really covering the concept and the context of a business itself and how we operate within that space. So one of the first book that I want to talk about is Deliver Value. And so when I wrote Deliver Value, the whole concept was how do we talk about value in such a way that it really talks about the happy contributing people who are really doing all the work in the company. How we talk about satisfied customers as well as a thriving business. So one of the things that we did in this book is really go out and have some interviews with different industry professionals, learning about their concept of what value really means. But so for us, for me, when I talk about value, I talking about the values of measurable outcome that can be realized and shared, right? Value is a thing that's really super important for us to provide for our customers, for the people who work for our company, and as well for the companies, and as well for the organization as well. So this book, Deliver Value, is one of the books that is available on Dr. Dave Duca. You could also find this book also on Amazon, and it has the various different formats that you could think of. So you can get it as a print format, you could get it as Kindle, you can get it as an audiobook, and it also has a hardcover. So there's options for you to tap into. Um, but one of the fun things about writing this book, Deliver Value, is that I created a fictional character. And so for this fictional character, I want to introduce you to Ashanti Muendo, right? Ashanti is this fictional character that I wrote about. And in terms of how do we express and talk about different business concepts in such a way that it's easy for people to understand, it's easy for people to grasp. So one of the tricks that we've done here in terms of creating a fictional character was expressing the concepts of happy contributing people from the lens of Ashanti and her team, Ashanti Muendo and her team and her team members, that they had the ability to essentially work for a VR company, virtual reality company, as well as an artificial intelligence company, and begin to bring different context about how they are delivering value back to the organization called Avant-Garde Reality. So this is the concept of how Ashanti actually went through the journey of getting her first C-level job and then building a team to come in and rescue an organization that was really struggling, having a hard time satisfying their customers and really delivering value for their customers. And if you've ever used virtual realities in the headset, you would figure out that oftentimes, you have some type of motion sickness if you spend too much time within that space with that headset. So that's one of the biggest challenges that Ashanti and her team tackled. But furthermore, she and her team went into the local community and began to find potential innovators who could really contribute to their journey as well. So, this was an opportunity where Ashanti and her team was able to come up with a new idea called Uwazi. Uwazi was their new company, and it was an idea that was born in the local community and brought that to life. So that's another concept of how we start to bring these ideas together, starting with a a nonfiction book like Deliver Value, right, and then augmenting that fictional book, nonfiction book, with a fictional character to give you a different storyline, something that you could really connect to. But furthermore, as they move forward, I said, hey, let's make this a series. Let's make this really fun, right? And write about Beyond the Windowsill. That is the second book in the series, and this second book really digs into the life of Ashanti. You got to meet her husband Ayo. You got to meet her two children, Caleb and Carmel, who are on the spectrum, and they also got into the whole concept of technology and how they apply technology to their lives and their business as well. Fun thing is that we have Ashanti and her husband moving to the city of Tucson, Arizona, working at the University of Arizona, where I am currently right now. So it's like bringing that story home locally to where I live and looking at this couple, you know, this couple who are just coming out of COVID, um, having great success, where Ashanti having great success with her role as a CX level, right, in the product development space, and also her husband, who was a researcher and was doing a lot of STEM work. So together, they had a great opportunity to really begin to share, their knowledge and experience coming into um, a smaller market like Tucson, in Tucson, Arizona. But there's also suspense in this book and Beyond the Windowsill, where we're starting to deal with cybersecurity issues and people trying to steal the secrets of Uwazi and avant-garde realities and start to sell that information off to a foreign country. We call it China. Let's just be transparent about that was taking place. So a lot of the conversation and the storytelling in Beyond the Windowsill is really to help us understand some of the realities that we're faced with, in the markets today and in business. So, you know, these books that I've written, leading the innovation catalyst, leading with empathy and Beyond the Windowsills, they're really short versions of books. They're about 100 pages. Right? I like to tell short stories, keep it tight, really get to the point, and only when it's necessary that you go off to 200 plus pages. So these are shorter books, and it gives you really great insights into the story of Ashanti Mwando, but also into the story of working for tech companies and really building products in that space. So it's a space that I live in. And so it's just so much fun to be able to tell that story and bring that forward. But part of the journey, right? Part of the journey is that also we start to talk about one of the other books that I like to highlight here, since we're here. It's called Belonging and Healing, and it's from the premise that we use a philosophy of Ubuntu. And Ubuntu really means I am because we are, right? And it's that story that we learned from Archbishop Desmond Tutu when they're working through the TRC, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in South Africa, and the story of how he was trying to bring healing into that country after going through apartheid and some of those difficult times that people struggled with. But in this Belonging and Healing, it's taking that concept and that mindset and bringing it into the business world. How does that really play out? What does that really look like? This is just another way of looking at how we could use different concepts in our business space and beginning to tell like really powerful stories in our journey. So this is a great book that, all of these different books are available on Amazon.com. And if you're down here at the Tucson Festival of Books, come on over to the Dr. Dave Duca. We have lots of great books here. This is a great atmosphere to be in. It's fun. We have people walking up and down in the mall of the University of Arizona campus, and this is a great learning opportunity. So I just wanted to put that out there, come in and share some stories about what's going on. But I wanted to see if I could get, this guy, his name is Dr. Charles Collingwood. I wanted to see if I could get him to come over and talk to me for a second. I don't know if he wants to come and sit in this chair next to me. Dr. Charles Collingwood, if he was going to come over. I don't know, but I wanted to just ask him and maybe create some space for him to come and I think if he sits like right about here, I will be able to see him. I think so, and come and sit in that chair. Don't be afraid. I know he isn't afraid, so he teaches like a lot of great students here in Tucson. So, Dr. Charles Collingwood.
Yes, sir.
B. Thanks for coming in. Hey, man, talk to me about you picked up the book Belonging and Healing today. What did you get? Once you picked that book up.
Well, I kind of was just looking at the back of the book, because I read a few things that was really kind of impactful. Thinking about how we look at our lives and what we can do to improve the conditions that we're in, and it all leads to this idea of fixing stuff that we have, right? So the idea of healing, I think, is important, right?
Yeah.
Because if we want to become a better society, a lot of us have stuff that we need to work on. And you want to feel like you belong.
Yes.
Right? And to belong, that means you have to deal with some issues that you have and that you trying to kind of expose, right? And so otherwise you can't deal with it, right? It just happens and you bury it and you never talk about it. So I think that's what I got from looking at the book and stuff. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, because you have created this great space of belonging, because we even ran into one of your students that we had an opportunity to share learning with, Moses, right? Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, so I think that's what when you make those kind of connections with students, especially, it's beyond what you do in the classroom, it's what happens beyond that, And I think in this case, you have this young brother who just got a fellowship to MIT.
MIT,
right?
yes.
He went to MIT this summer and stuff, and I remember him as a student that he had a potential, but now his potential is being realized. I think that's powerful. We worked with him during the summer of 2019?
2000, yeah, or 18 or 19.
2018, right. He
Yeah.
was in a summer program with us.
Yeah.
And from that point, I knew he's that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now he's, in fact, making great things happen. So what we do is important.
Yeah.
Don't forget what we do.
Right. Greatly appreciate you, coming in and supporting the Dr. Dave Duca and us just being family. That's really cool stuff, right?
Yeah. That's last year was my first time, and I said I'm gonna come back, and so
There you go. Belonging.
That's right. That's right. Belonging.
Belonging, yeah, that's right. Great, brother. But anything else you want to share while we're like having this conversation here?
Yeah, I think especially as an educator, we really have to think about much more than what we do in the classroom for students. We have to make connections that allow them to see that what they're learning is just a little piece of what they would have to accomplish to be successful So it has to be way more than just teaching mathematics or teaching physics or teaching chemistry. Really teach them about life.
Yeah.
What they're going to experience as they leave our classroom. So I think that's important. That's one thing I want people to understand, that it's not just teaching your content area. You're going to teach students how to survive in the world.
Right.
That's important.
Really important stuff. And a lot of the same thing kind of applies when we do in the business world as well, right? It's beyond just the topics of business, but it's the human factor, right? Another really important aspects that we need to just tap into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, man. So
we just in different spaces, right?
that's it.
That's
That's it. We're dealing with people at different ages.
Yeah,
That's it. In different, what I would call different seasons of their lives, right?
Yes. But
Cool,
we
man.
have a lot to. I think we have a lot to offer based on the experiences that we have.
Yes.
Right? I think it's important that we kind of continuously understand that we are impacting little people who's going to be big people, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let me just wrap up this podcast here. This is a nice segue for us to say, thank you for listening to the Knowledge Show with Dr. Dave podcast. And we have Dr. Charles Collingwood, who joined us here today. And at the Tucson Festival of Books, over at the Dr. Dave Duca. Duca means shop, by the way. It's a Swahili word for shop. And just to give you a little bit more about that, it is that this is a common practice that you find in many countries, not just in Africa. We grew up in the Caribbean, and you would have a little store outside of your home, right outside, maybe on the porch or in the backyard, right? So that's what a duca is. And so we're bringing that whole concept of a duca to the Festival of Books as well. So, thank you for tuning in, and, look forward for us. We'll be coming back this afternoon. We're going to be looking at Ubuntu Living, which is a card game that we created. And so we'll having some conversations around that. So with that, thank you for listening, and we will talk to you soon.